Ayubowan, Vanakkam. I'm Vioni Dimel. This is Boston Lanka News, bringing you news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. European Parliament. Is that a new platform for LTTE sympathizers? Minister Wimal Weerawansa needs a lesson on national anthems of the world. From Minister Mervyn Silva. Hotline for public and razor justice for cabinet colleagues. LTTE sympathizers using the European Parliament as a platform to discredit Sri Lanka, said Ravinatha Ariasinghe, Sri Lanka's ambassador to Belgium and the European Union. Human Rights Subcommittee of the European Parliament had a meeting on 6 December on Sri Lanka. Boston Lanka spoke to Ambassador Ravinatha Ariasinghe. Ambassador joins us from Luxembourg. Ambassador Ariasinghe, we read in news reports that you were not given an opportunity to respond at the Human Rights Subcommittee at the European Parliament on Sri Lanka in spite of your presence at the meeting and demanding Sri Lanka's right of reply. Could you please tell us about the meeting and why you, in fact, the Sri Lankan government, being treated that way by the European Parliament?
Frankly, the first time this has happened, at least over the last 2.5 years, because in fairness, I must say that the European Parliament has generally had debates which were plus and minus on Sri Lanka, but have always been receptive and given us the opportunity to exercise our right of reply, which we have done very forcefully. And I think that has given balance to those debates. Even in the Human Rights Subcommittee, there was a major debate like this in October 2009, where the whole IDP issue was very much at play, and we were able to give a very factual answer, which helped that process. It is in that context that this was unusual. But the unusualness, I think, largely also stemmed from the fact that the regular chair was not in the meeting, and that is why I have, after the meeting, written to the regular chair of this subcommittee, pointing out the procedural mistake. And also, I went on from pointing out the procedural mistake of not giving me right of reply to also make the larger point that in this committee on that day, out of 32 MEPs who are part of the subcommittee, only one chose to speak. And the commission made some statements as they normally do, but that was also very little. Much of the time was given to the crisis group, as well as two speakers who represented the Tamil pro-LTTE points of view, one including from the tribunal which was held in Ireland. So this is the point I was making, was that this leaves the unmistakable impression that the Human Rights Subcommittee is not interested in having a reasoned and balanced discussion on Sri Lanka, but is merely content on allowing itself to be used as a platform for LTTE apologists to discredit the government of Sri Lanka. We preach all about transparency and fairness and balance, but that they are deliberately shutting us from having to say things, because I see this as a interesting pattern now coming about, where since they know that the government of Sri Lanka has more robust answers which we can offer. We are not going to be able to necessarily tell them everything they want to hear, but we surely have better answers to give about things, because things on the ground, yes, there are problems, there are shortcomings, but by and large things have improved on the human rights front in a appreciable way. So I think there is a fear on the part of these people not to allow us to talk, so that then they can have the party. And as far as I'm concerned, I will in Brussels, we are very intent on making sure that this does not happen, and that if they will have to hear us out in whatever thing they want to do, and I think that is what I was trying to do on that day.
Do you really think that the European institutions and member states allow remnants of LTTE organization and other LTTE apologists to dictate foreign policy towards Sri Lanka?
I'm making an inference here based on what I experienced in that committee. If out of more than 1 hour's time, you give pro-LTT elements a good 45 to 50 minutes of that time, you're just propping up a stage for them to dance on, isn't it? And I think each and every one of those member states must ask itself how they want to deal with Sri Lanka. Do they want to deal with Sri Lanka guided just by some LTT apologists who have lost their argument and their debate and are now just trying to keep the pot boiling just so that they can continue to remain as refugees? Or if these countries and organizations are serious about doing things which benefit Sri Lanka, for whatever reason, they may have misperceptions, but that is okay. We can always argue those out and correct those misperceptions, and they can maybe convince us if there is something wrong we are doing. But the basic fundamental premise, which I think particularly the Western governments and organizations preach to us, is that you must have fair play. And all I am saying is that must be given. And if that is not given, and if these interactions are used merely as a platform for LTT apologists to come and sing their piece without challenge, then one will have to come to the conclusion that this is being done in collusion with these states and these organizations, because if not, these organizations and states must show that they have a little more backbone in standing up to these groups, because at the end of the day, these groups are serving only their interests, and they are in the long term a major threat to these countries, because one day they will do the same thing they did to Sri Lanka to these countries. They are using these countries and these organizations. They are not doing it out of love. It is an absolute abuse of the privilege they are being given as refugees, as well as whatever status they are given in these representations.
Thank you, Ambassador. A colourful political figure, Minister Wimal Weerawansa, was on news recently with his controversial comments about the Sri Lankan National Anthem. The government was quick to deny Minister Weerawansa's statement.
ලෝකයේ කිසිම රටක ජාතික ගීයක් තවත් භාෂාවකට පරිවර්තනය කරලා ඒ රට ඇතුලේ ගායනා කරන්නේ නැහැ.
No other country in the world translates a national anthem to another language and sings it in the country, said Minister Weerawansa. He was wrong. There are several countries where the national anthem is sung in more than one language: Canada, Switzerland, New Zealand and South Africa, to name a few.
දැන් ඉන්දියාව වගේ රටක් ගත්තොත් භාෂා විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් තිබුණාට ජාතික ගීය හින්දි භාෂාවෙන් එක භාෂාවකින් තියෙන්නේ.
Minister Weerawansa said, if for example you take India, although you have a larger number of languages, the national anthem is only in Hindi. All those who speak in other languages sing the national anthem in Hindi. Wrong again. Jana Gana Mana, the national anthem of India, was written in Bengali language. Rabindranath Tagore, who wrote the song, himself translated the Jana Gana Mana from Bengali to English. Bengali is the second most commonly spoken language in India after Hindi. Hindustan Times wrote in an article, at a time when President Rajapaksa has been talking about a trilingual society, Sinhala, Tamil and English, the move could be interpreted as regressive. The lessons of history seem to have been forgotten here. Discrimination over language was one reason behind the civil war. If one nation, one anthem was the logic, then it did not do anything to make the Tamils feel secure about their present or the future. Controversial government figure Minister of Public Relations and Public Affairs, Mervyn Silva, announced a hotline that will be open between 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily for the public to call him when they face a crisis situation. Boston Lanka called the hotline to find out more about the services available for public. හලෝ මේ කතා කරන්නේ මේ ඇමරිකාවේ බොස්ටන් ලංකා මාධ්‍ය ආයතනයේ ප්‍රවෘත්ති අංශයෙන්. අපිට කරුණාකරලා කියන්න පුළුවන්ද මේ අමාත්‍යවරයාගේ හොට්ලයින් එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් විස්තර ස්වල්පයක්?
හොට්ලයින් එකෙන් දැනට කිරින්නේ මෙහෙමයි. අපි හොට්ලයින් එක දැන් දවස් 3ක් විතර වෙනවා. පටන් ගන්න 17 වෙනිදා හවස වල තමයි ඔන් කරේ. එතකොට හලෝ.
ඔව් කියන්න.
එතකොට ඒකෙන් එක මහජනතාවගේ මොනවා හරි ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ට තියෙන බලපාන ගැටලුවක් තියෙනවා නම් මේ ඇමතුමාට කියලා ඒ කරගන්න.
Minister Mervyn Silva also made a warning to his cabinet colleagues.
මේ පණිවිඩේ කැබිනට් එකේ කවුරු හරි දුන්න නම් ඒ කරේ බොරුවක්. ඒ දීපු එක මට වුණොත් මම කට කපනවා දැලිපියේ.
According to Minister Silva, I will use a barber's knife and cut off the mouth of the person who gave false information about me to the media about the incident that happened at the recent cabinet meeting. That concludes our news edition. We meet you again with another news edition of news, views and entertainment from Boston and USA. Till then, goodbye.